If you're over 60 and you think eating more vegetables automatically means eating healthier, I need you to stop and watch this video right now, because what I'm about to share with you could genuinely change how you feel every single day. I'm Dr. Emily Walker, and in my years of working with patients in the 60-plus age group, I have seen something that most doctors simply don't take the time to explain. Not all vegetables are created equal when it comes to the aging body. Some that are considered health foods are quietly working against you, inflaming your joints, interfering with your medications, spiking your blood pressure, or robbing your bones of the minerals they desperately need. And on the flip side, there are 3 vegetables that I consider almost medicinal for seniors. Vegetables that protect your heart, sharpen your brain, strengthen your joints, and even fight off the kind of cellular damage that accelerates aging. So today, I'm giving you the full picture. 3 vegetables you need to avoid after 60, and 3 that should absolutely be on your plate every single week. Let's get into it. Let's start with the vegetables you need to be careful about, because this is where most people get surprised. And I want to be clear about something before I go further. I'm not saying these vegetables are bad in a universal sense. For a healthy 30-year-old, they might be perfectly fine. But the aging body processes food differently. By the time we reach our 60s and beyond, our kidneys are functioning at roughly 30 to 40% less capacity than they did in our 30s. Our digestive systems produce less stomach acid, our livers process compounds more slowly, and our cells are more sensitive to inflammation and oxidative stress. So what's fine at 35 can genuinely cause problems at 65. Keep that in mind as we go through these. The first vegetable I want to talk about is raw spinach, and I can already hear people pushing back on this one because spinach has been marketed as one of the great superfoods for decades. And it is nutritionally rich, there's no question about that. It's loaded with iron, magnesium, and vitamins A, C, and K. But here's what the marketing doesn't tell you. Spinach is one of the highest dietary sources of oxalates, naturally occurring compounds that bind to minerals like calcium and form crystals in the body. And for people over 60, this matters in a very significant way. As we age, our kidneys become less efficient at filtering and excreting oxalates from the bloodstream. Studies published in the Journal of Urology have consistently found that high oxalate intake is one of the primary drivers of kidney stone formation, and the risk increases sharply with age. But kidney stones aren't the only concern. Those oxalate calcium crystals don't just stay in the kidneys. They can also accumulate in joint tissue, worsening the pain and inflammation of conditions like arthritis, which affects over 54 million Americans, the majority of whom are over 60. There's also a lesser-known issue with spinach that I think is important to mention. It contains something called purines, which break down into uric acid in the body. Elevated uric acid levels are directly linked to gout, a condition that causes agonizing joint pain and is disproportionately common in older adults. Now, I'm not telling you to never eat spinach again. Cooked spinach, for example, significantly reduces oxalate content. But if you're eating large, raw spinach salads several times a week and you're over 60, especially if you have any history of kidney issues, joint pain, or gout, you need to rethink that habit. This is exactly the kind of nuance that can make a real difference in how you feel day to day. The second vegetable I want to address is one that might genuinely shock you: cruciferous vegetables. I know. Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, these are the darlings of the nutrition world. And for good reason. They contain glucosinolates, compounds that have been studied extensively for their anti-cancer properties. But here's what most doctors don't take the time to explain to their older patients. Cruciferous vegetables are also goitrogenic, meaning they contain compounds that interfere with the thyroid gland's ability to absorb iodine and produce thyroid hormones. And this becomes a much bigger issue after 60 because thyroid function naturally slows with age. By the time we reach our 60s, the prevalence of hypothyroidism, an underactive thyroid, rises dramatically. Studies estimate that between 10 and 15% of adults over 65 have some degree of thyroid dysfunction, and a significant portion of those cases go undiagnosed. An underactive thyroid leads to fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, depression, joint pain, and cold sensitivity. Many of the symptoms that older adults are told are just part of aging. If you're consuming large amounts of raw cruciferous vegetables and you're already dealing with thyroid issues, or if you're taking thyroid medication like levothyroxine, you could be quietly undermining your treatment. Again, cooking makes a substantial difference here. Heat significantly reduces the goitrogenic compounds. The issue is specifically with large, frequent consumption of raw, cruciferous vegetables. A cup of steamed broccoli a few times a week is different from a raw kale smoothie every morning. Beyond the thyroid, cruciferous vegetables are notorious for causing significant gas and bloating because they contain raffinose, a complex sugar that the human digestive tract cannot break down on its own. As we age, our gut microbiome changes and our digestive enzyme production decreases, making this problem much worse. For seniors, chronic bloating isn't just uncomfortable. The increased intra-abdominal pressure can worsen acid reflux and contribute to digestive discomfort that significantly impacts quality of life. So the message here is not to eliminate these vegetables, but to be thoughtful about how much, how often, and in what form you consume them, especially if thyroid issues or digestive sensitivity are part of your health picture. The third vegetable on this list is one that many of my patients have never considered a potential problem, and that's canned tomatoes. Now, I want to be precise here. Fresh tomatoes are a different story, and I'll explain why in a moment. But canned tomatoes are a particular concern for older adults for two main reasons. First, the lining of most tin cans contains BPA, bisphenol A, a synthetic compound that has been classified as an endocrine disruptor. The highly acidic nature of tomatoes causes significantly more BPA to leach from the can lining compared to less acidic foods. A study from the Environmental Health Perspectives Journal found that tomato products consistently show higher BPA levels than virtually any other canned food. BPA mimics estrogen in the body and has been linked to increased cardiovascular risk, cognitive decline, and hormonal disruption, all areas of heightened concern for aging adults. Second, canned tomatoes are consistently among the highest sodium foods in the grocery store, with some brands containing 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium per half-cup serving. For seniors who already face increased cardiovascular risk and are often managing blood pressure issues, this is a significant concern. The American Heart Association recommends that adults over 50 consume no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. And if you're using canned tomatoes in a sauce or soup along with other sodium-containing ingredients, you can easily blow past that limit in a single meal. The fix here is simple. Use fresh tomatoes or choose BPA-free, no salt-added canned products. This is one of those small switches that, over time, can make a meaningful difference in cardiovascular health and hormonal balance. Now let's talk about the good news. And this is the part of the video I really love, because these three vegetables are genuinely powerful tools for healthy aging. This isn't hype. This is science-backed nutrition that, in my professional experience, far too few seniors are taking advantage of. The first must-eat vegetable for anyone over 60 is beets. Not beetroot powder, not beet juice with added sugar, actual whole beets, whether fresh or steamed. Here's why I'm so enthusiastic about this one. As we age, one of the most significant cardiovascular challenges we face is the stiffening of our blood vessels. The arteries lose flexibility, blood pressure rises, and the heart has to work harder to pump blood throughout the body. Beets contain some of the highest concentrations of dietary nitrates found in any food, and those nitrates convert in the body to nitric oxide, a molecule that essentially signals the blood vessel walls to relax and dilate. Multiple peer-reviewed studies, including research published in the journal Hypertension, have found that consuming beets can lower systolic blood pressure by an average of 4 to 5 points, which may not sound dramatic, but at a population level, that kind of reduction is associated with a significant decrease in stroke and heart attack risk. But the cardiovascular benefits are only part of the story. Beets are exceptionally rich in betaine, a compound that helps protect the liver and reduces homocysteine levels in the blood. Elevated homocysteine is one of the most underappreciated risk factors for cardiovascular disease and cognitive decline, and it tends to rise with age. Beets also contain betalains, the pigments that give them their deep red-purple color, which are potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds that have been studied for their potential to slow the progression of cognitive decline. And for seniors concerned about energy and stamina, the nitric oxide effect isn't just about blood pressure. It also improves oxygen delivery to muscles, which means better endurance, less fatigue, and easier recovery from physical activity. I recommend 2 to 3 servings of beets per week, roasted, steamed, or added to salads. The second vegetable that I consider absolutely essential for seniors is asparagus. Asparagus is, in my view, one of the most underappreciated vegetables in the senior health space and it deserves far more attention than it gets. Let me tell you why. As we get older, chronic low-grade inflammation becomes one of the central drivers of nearly every major age-related disease. Arthritis, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. This persistent background inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging by researchers, is driven in part by declining glutathione levels. Glutathione is the body's master antioxidant, the compound that neutralizes free radicals, supports immune function, and regulates the inflammatory response. And here's the critical point. Asparagus is one of the few foods that actually stimulates the body's own production of glutathione. Most antioxidant supplements give you exogenous antioxidants. You're adding them from outside the body. Asparagus contains the precursors that help your own cells manufacture more of this protective compound. This is a fundamentally different and more powerful mechanism. Beyond that, asparagus is one of the richest dietary sources of folate, a B vitamin that becomes increasingly important after 60 for protecting cognitive function and reducing homocysteine. A single cup of cooked asparagus provides about 67% of the daily recommended intake of folate. Asparagus is also a prebiotic food, meaning it feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. And we're learning more every year about the gut-brain connection and how a healthy microbiome is linked to better mood, cognition, and immune resilience in older adults. And for anyone concerned about bone health, which should be essentially every woman over 60 and many men as well, asparagus is a meaningful source of vitamin K, which is essential not just for blood clotting, but for directing calcium into bones rather than into arterial walls. I recommend steaming or lightly sautéing asparagus to preserve its nutrient profile, and enjoying it 2 to 3 times per week. The third vegetable on my must-eat list is one that might surprise you with the depth of research supporting it, and that's purple cabbage. Not green cabbage, specifically purple. The color difference is not cosmetic. That deep violet hue comes from a class of flavonoids called anthocyanins, and these compounds have been the subject of significant scientific interest over the past decade. A landmark study published in the Annals of Neurology followed over 16,000 women for 20 years and found that those with the highest anthocyanin intake had the slowest rate of cognitive decline, the equivalent of being 2.5 years younger in terms of brain aging compared to women with the lowest intake. 2.5 years of brain age difference from diet alone. That is remarkable. Purple cabbage is one of the most concentrated sources of anthocyanins available, containing significantly more than blueberries gram for gram. But the benefits don't stop at brain health. Anthocyanins have potent anti-inflammatory effects, have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, critically important since the risk of type 2 diabetes increases substantially after 60, and have been linked in multiple studies to reduced cardiovascular disease risk. Purple cabbage is also extraordinarily rich in vitamin C, providing more than 50% of the daily recommended intake in a single cup, and it contains sulforaphane, the same powerful compound found in broccoli, but with the goitrogenic effects significantly reduced compared to other brassica vegetables. It's also exceptionally affordable and widely available. You can eat it raw in slaws, ferment it for added probiotic benefit, or lightly sauté it as a side dish. Any way you prepare it, you're getting an extraordinary density of protective nutrients for your aging cells. So let me bring this all together for you, because I want you to walk away from this video with a clear and practical picture. If you're over 60, the goal isn't just to eat more vegetables. The goal is to eat the right vegetables in the right forms and the right amounts for your body at this stage of life. Be mindful of raw spinach if you have joint pain, kidney issues, or gout. Think carefully about how much raw cruciferous vegetables you're consuming, especially if you have any thyroid concerns, and make the simple switch from canned to fresh tomatoes or BPA-free options. Meanwhile, make beets, asparagus, and purple cabbage genuine staples of your weekly meals, not occasional additions, but regular, consistent parts of your diet. These 3 vegetables are doing things in your body at a cellular level that no supplement can fully replicate. They're protecting your brain, supporting your heart, reducing inflammation, strengthening your bones, and helping you maintain the energy and vitality that you deserve to have in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. I genuinely hope this video has given you something useful and eye-opening today. This is the kind of information I wish more patients received before small dietary habits quietly became big health problems. If this video helped you, please take a moment to give it a like. It tells YouTube that this content is valuable and helps it reach more seniors who could genuinely benefit from this information. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I'd love for you to join our community. I release new videos every week covering exactly this kind of science-backed, age-specific health guidance, because you deserve information that's actually tailored to where you are in life, not generic advice designed for a 35-year-old. Coming up next, I'm covering the 5 foods that are silently accelerating joint inflammation in people over 60, and the one mineral that most seniors are severely deficient in that's making everything worse. You won't want to miss it. I'm Dr. Emily Walker, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself.